Hello everyone, we're back here again on my deck for another music chat with Wendy and Barb. And I have in front of me today the famous hymn, Holy, Holy, Holy. And we're out here having some tea with our Holy, Holy, Holy as we talk about it. As Barbara tells me it's an English hymn. So we'll come over to Barbara and see what she's going to share with us about this great hymn.
Well, it is a great hymn. It's been around for a long time, and almost every denomination uses it. It was written especially for Trinity Sunday, of course, and that's why we're talking about it today. And we are very English with our tea.
Yes, we are. So we have
and our teapot. Let's have a
sip.
Little sip of cuppa, huh? Mm-hmm. Oh yes.
Lovely.
And one of the reasons is because this hymn was written by an Anglican vicar. His name was very English, Reginald Heber, and he wrote his music in the early 1800s. He was a person who came from a family of wealth. His father was also a vicar at that time, and he went to Oxford. He became quite well known at Oxford because of his literary talents, because he wrote many poems and hymns while he was at Oxford. And then after graduation he did travel a little bit, but he went back and took over his father's parish, his church. And it's interesting because it's in Hognet, England. I've never heard of Hognet, England.
But I'm convinced it's the inspiration for Harry Potter, of course.
Wendy thinks it's Hogwarts, but whatever. But it sure sounds like that, doesn't it? Yeah. He wrote this hymn specifically for Trinity Sunday, and it's kind of an interesting little background musically about the Church of England. You know, after the Church of England was developed and it separated from the Catholic Church with Henry VIII, there were so many things that the English wanted to observe to make sure that it was very different from the Catholic service. And one of the things at the time that he wrote this, there was not, we're getting pelleted by acorns here. There weren't hymns in the cathedral. The congregation did not sing hymns. They were not sanctioned. And they didn't want to have responses. They didn't want to intone the psalms. They didn't want to do any of that because it was so much like the Catholic liturgy. And this went on until the beginning of the 1800s. And there was music, of course, in the church, but in the cathedrals, if you think about an English cathedral, if you've ever seen pictures or been able to be there, the clergy, the choir, it's all separate from the congregation. Very separate. Very separate. And actually there's, two sides to the choir. There was a lot of, in the Baroque period, a lot of antiphonal music, and it was okay in the Church of England to have music sung by the choir, to have instruments play, to have the organ play, but it had to be by the musicians. They did not sanction having the congregation sing. So when Heber wrote this, he was hoping that, and again, I said he went to Oxford, and around the beginning of the 1800s, there was a movement that's called the Oxford movement that was trying to bring hymnology back into the cathedrals. The parishes, the country parishes, were singing hymns. I mean, what else could they do? They didn't have choirs and whatever. But it was like that little separation thing going on, that's a country thing, we don't do that, it's done by the musicians, they're all up there, I don't know, maybe it's an English thing. What do you think about that?
I don't know, I had no idea that was the way that things went down. It sort of makes sense historically with the separation from the Catholic Church. But thank goodness it's come back,
absolutely,
and recovered back into the congregations, being able to sing again.
the Puritans, that were trying to make the Church of England so different from the Catholic Church, did not like the thought that the hymns were coming back. They didn't like that. But Heber himself, he wrote this hymn hoping that it would be an entry back into using hymnology in the service and with the congregation. So kind of interesting.
So he wrote the lyrics, the text, with that in mind, and then I understand John B. Dykes, who famously wrote "Eternal Father, Strong to Save," those famous lyrics. He also was the writer of the "Holy, Holy, Holy" lyrics, and he's
the music.
I'm sorry, the
not
music.
The lyrics.
Yeah,
the
I'm sorry, the music. He set the music to be fitting for. He was inspired by the Trinity words, the words about the Trinity, the Holy, 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 being symbolic of the Trinity. And he wrote and gave it the name of Nicaea, and named the tune Nicaea in honor of the Council of Nicaea, which had written all the documents regarding the theology surrounding the Trinity.
Trilogy, yeah.
Yeah, and then musically, he did such a wonderful thing to that opening. That holy, 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 that ascension of the thirds going up, do mi so, very strong,
thirds,
ascending thirds, which I remember as a kid singing "Holy, Holy, Holy," and just that rising.
It felt so good.
It did, and it still does.
Yeah, definitely.
Felt very good. It's always been one of my favorites. I wish it was Trinity Sunday every Sunday, because in the Lutheran Church, we tend to only sing it one Sunday, and maybe occasionally in another time. But it's a wonderfully written hymn, a 4/4 straight out hymn with clear words and.
Can I add?
Yeah, sure.
I wanted to add this little comment about it. It says the biographer or whoever I was reading said Heber didn't write the lyrics so that it was like it was filled with emotionalism. But again, we're very British here, very English, and he said that it initiates praise by inviting the congregation to join in the endless song. It's not like filled with a lot of expressionism and emotionalism, which again is just very, English.
Well, and also the word holy. It's the holiest of words. It's the holiest idea that we have set apart for God, for God's purpose. And so
exactly. Yeah.
It's just a wonderful song of praise and recognition of the Trinity, and it really speaks to me. And I love it musically, and I love it text-wise as well. So these two men did a great job with giving us this very lasting hymn. I think it will be around for a long time.
How long has it been? It's almost
Exactly.
200 years
Yeah.
now, so I'm sure that it will be sung forever. And he wrote many hymns, but I think this one is probably the most lasting. I say that, but there are probably other ones we just don't realize.
Right.
Eventually he became Heber, the person who wrote the text, became a bishop to Calcutta. And unfortunately, while he was over there, the weather just did not agree with him. He kind of became very sickly, and he died quite young. He was like 42, and he had a stroke. But he was the bishop to Calcutta. And interesting enough, they have a memorial to him in Calcutta, and they also have a memorial to him at St. Paul's Cathedral in London. So, he's recognized.
He's remembered well.
As
Yes,
having a
absolutely.
legacy, a lasting legacy
so.
on church music. So it's good to give him a little bit of airtime today
I think
and
so.
to think about him, because sometimes we just sing without thinking about those
That's right.
things. So,
And speaking of singing, this will be Trinity Sunday, this coming Sunday, and of course this will be the big hymn of the day. And so we're going to let that pre-recorded hymn, of course our service is pre-recorded right now because of the coronavirus, and so we've already recorded it, and we're going to use that recording here today with myself on organ and Barbara singing, and I'm not sure if Pastor's singing or not. I can't really
not
recall,
on
but,
this one. I think it's just me.
We're just going to let that stand as our presentation for the music part of Holy, Holy, Holy today. So please enjoy that, and enjoy Trinity Sunday this coming Sunday.
And thanks for listening.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.